Hello and welcome. So, my name's Damien. I've been working at Odoo for 3 years now, and a few weeks ago I finally managed to convince my boss to move me to a brand new project. And today I'm here to show this to all of you. First of all, credits due to my colleagues, because I am just part of a small part of a quite nice team. So I would like to congratulate Fabien Megazi, Denis Ledoux, and Denis Vermeulen from the really nice work we've done here. So I'm going to show you this new platform that we've called Odoo.sh. I'm going to explain to you the problem that we have currently with the deployment options of Odoo for customers, I mean. I'm going to show you the solution we're trying to provide with this platform. We'll have a small and quick look at how a normal project will go on this platform. I'll do a small demo for all of that. Then I'll go into some technical details about how it works technically. And finally, I'll explain to you what we plan to do until we go out of beta in a few months. But first, let's talk about the current situation and the problem it has. We have currently two ways for customers to use Odoo. It's either to deploy Odoo, it's either using Odoo Online, so our online platform. It's nice, it's super easy, it's quite simple to sign up, it just takes a web form, but unfortunately it does not allow you to use custom codes. For the final customer, this is sometimes annoying because they might want to use an external application or things or similar things, and the SaaS does not allow to do that, although it still allows quite a lot of customizations if you know what you're doing. The other way to deploy Odoo at the moment is using a partner. We have a lot of very competent, very good partners when it comes to sysadmins. Unfortunately, we have also quite a few of them who don't know how to deploy Odoo really well. And I mean, this is absolutely normal, given that this is completely a different job than being a developer. If you want to deploy Odoo yourself, you have to know how to use Nginx, PostgreSQL, things like this. And for example, I once had a support ticket where a partner did not know how it had installed Odoo. Was it using an installer or the source code? He couldn't tell. And if he couldn't tell that, then we can safely assume that he did not have backup, and that probably there was a lot of issues that would appear in the future for his customer. So let's have a quick look at these limitations. As I said, Odoo Online is really easy to set up. You just have to sign up online. On the other hand, on-premise is extremely complicated. You have to configure your reverse proxy. You have to configure PostgreSQL. You have to configure your backups, which a lot of people forget. So this is all quite complicated and easy to get wrong. Odoo Online is easy to maintain in the sense that you don't actually have to do anything. We do it for you. We pull the code regularly. You always have the latest security updates on the code. On-premise installations, it's the opposite. You still have to do all of this manually. And as the end user, you don't even know if it's done automatically by a partner or not. On online, unfortunately, you cannot have custom applications, or at least you can have some custom code, but it's really limited. On-premise, on the other hand, allow you to have all of this just as much as you want, as much as you can code. You have on Odoo Online no access whatsoever to the server for security reasons. On-premise, as a developer, you have at least access to the database, to the logs if you want to debug something, for example. And finally, and this is something that people often overlook, if you go on the SaaS, you have already completely configured mail server. So if you want to send emails, outgoing emails, this all work out of the box with a nice domain, etc., etc. On-premise, you have to do that all by yourself. And this people often overlook. So as you can see, this is quite a game of a trade-off. And what we're going, of course, to introduce today is a new platform that ticks all the checkboxes, and it's called Odoo.sh. Basically, it's actually, this is just a small demo of how all of this works. It's not really important, but what's really important to remember is that Odoo.sh does all the heavy lifting of the configuration for you. So if you like to write code but don't like to configure your Debian configuration files, it's really the way to go. It has all the, as I said, it checks all the boxes of the previous slide. We have possibility to add custom code, including codes from, for example, the OCA repository, the Odoo Community Association, or the Odoo Community backports if you want. All of this is simply available on GitHub, so you can add it quite easily. Including, and this is a really nice one, Python dependencies of these modules. So if they have Python dependencies, they will be installed automatically. You don't have to configure anything. We do it for you. We also provide continuous integration, meaning that every time you do a modification on your code, every time you want to change something, you can do immediately if these tests are okay, assuming you got tests, assuming you have some tests, and I hope you do. You have automatic backups, just like on the SaaS. So you have one backup a day automatically, and we keep them for up to 3 months. So all of this is done without you having to do anything. You have a top-notch Nginx and PostgreSQL configuration. You have the possibility to view the logs online, in live. So if you want to debug what's happening, you can see the logs as the user is on the instance. You have, and this is quite nice, you have integration with the mail servers of the Odoo Online platform. So all outgoing emails work out of the box. And if you want to develop application and test outgoing emails, well, we catch them for you and we display them in a nice viewer so that you can see immediately if this is what you wanted. And most importantly, if you want to test emails in a copy of your production database, they actually don't go out. So you don't spam your users during your tests. This is quite important. And in general, it comes with the same service level agreement as the Odoo Online platform. So we have the same uptime objectives. We have the same time to recovery objectives. All of this is out of the box. So it's quite nice. It's available starting today in beta. It will be finalized. We will consider it finalized in January. So we still invite you to sign up now and run as many tests as you want. It's running already. And it will be available for development on Odoo 10 and Odoo 11, enterprise editions. All right, so that's a quick look of what we decided to give you. And now let's see how you can actually use it. So as Anthony showed you this morning, you have to sign up using GitHub at the moment. This may change in the future, but we still use GitHub. You can either start from scratch. So if you have a new project, you can start with an empty repository and then start coding. Or if you have an existing repository, you can start directly from that. And it will work immediately with all the branches you have in that repository. I don't think Anthony showed it this morning, but I think we talked about it, and as I said a few moments ago, if you want to use modules from the Odoo Community Association or from or for someone else, maybe even one of your other repository, you can use the Git submodule system to actually add as many child dependencies, as many child repositories in your project as you want. So if you need external tools, you can include them quite easily in a few clicks, actually. You can, of course, as a developer, you have your usual flow using Git, but if you want, you can actually manage your branches directly from the interface. So you can fork, you can create new branches. You can merge branches into other ones, or the production branch. You can delete branches. You can see the whole commit history of this branch you're currently working on. All of this is integrated. You can do it in your command line as you would normally do, and we get notified by GitHub, so everything is reflected live, and you can do it from the interface as well. Once you've set up all this repository, repository and your branches, you can actually start to develop. And what we provide at that stage is, as I said, continuous integration with every push. So every time you push on the GitHub remote, we will fetch the code, build it for you, run all your test suite, and then you will have in live the result of all of this. We catch the outgoing emails, as I said. This is really nice to avoid spamming your customers. You can access, at the moment, the container from a web shell if you want. So this is really nice if you want to have a look. Maybe you don't like our log viewer and you prefer to use less or tails. So be it. You can do that. And we have also a nice tool if you work with your customer. Maybe you want to give him access to the test instances, the staging instances, but you don't want to give him access to the whole project because who knows, he might merge a branch accidentally or something. So we have this public mode that allows you to share this public URL with your customer, and then you can connect to all the dev branches without having to access the whole system, so he cannot break anything. So that's really nice. You can do your development, and then finally, when all your tests are green, you decide to switch to production. When you go to production, this is simply a drag and drop operation. You say, okay, this is now my production branch. And what happens is that we completely switch the development, the instance system. So instead of building an instance with all the demo data, all the tests, we build you an empty database with no test running, no module installed, and then you can configure everything as you would do on a new, brand new database that you would use locally. This is all hosted on different servers from the development servers. Obviously, all the builds that use that deploy tests have quite a high CPU requirements and input-output operations because they have to read a lot of files, etc., etc. We don't want to crash production instances because someone decided to test a lot of branches, so we've separated the servers. And if you push something that is in fact not correct, let's imagine that you've made an indentation syntax error in Python or something like this. If we cannot apply the update on the production branch, we ignore it. And so even if you commit something that breaks your instance, we will detect it and we will keep your instance safe, and the production will keep on running without the faulty code. So that's quite nice. And after that, okay, you've gone to production, the customer has started using the application, and the server is quite happy. But you know, there's just this one more thing that it would like you to add, and let's call this phase 2. So you go to phase 2, and your customer wants new features, he wants to test a lot of things, and obviously you start working, you do your dev branches, and when you're confident that the feature you've developed is actually what the customer wanted, well, he would like to test, obviously. You could make him test on an empty database with on a demo database with demo data, but it's quite nicer to make him test it in a duplicate of his production database so that he knows all the objects, he knows what should happen when he clicks on that or this. And the staging mechanism is there to do exactly that, actually. So you say this branch is now a staging branch, and it will build using a clone of the production database, install your modifications, and the customer then go and connect and test everything and see that everything behaves as he wanted. That's the theory. Now let's actually do it. All right. So I'm going to start a new project. I already have a repository with a few interesting branches to speed up a little bit, and it's a 10.0 repository, so I'm going to use that. I have my super secret code. No, that's not one of those. That, by the way, will stop working on Friday. I see you taking notes. And it not only takes a few moments for the system to go on GitHub, and bam, I'm already starting to build the default branch. By the way, we wanted to avoid spamming everyone with a lot of, in case you build a repository with a lot of branches, so we only build one when you sign up, but if you want to build some more, it's just a click away. So, I've now created my new development build. It's going to be installed with demo data and tests, which will be run automatically. I will get a report on these tests in the form of a log of all the errors. And if I want to see the complete log, I can do that as well. By default, when you sign up, and I'll show this in the settings. So in the sign up, when you sign up, by default, we decide to only install the modules that are present in the repository you've just added. So we will not create a complete database with sales invoicing if you just want to test something that is on the side. So we only install your modules. You can specify if you want to change that value. For example, I want to test sale and website. I can do that as well, and it will test using these modules. And you will be able to test all modules in a few days. We just wanted to avoid doing that this week. As long as I'm in the settings, I'll just have a look at them. Here we have the project name. So this is basically just a mnemonic, until you realize that it's actually .odoo.com. So what it will be is that it will be the URL of the production instance once I have one. Okay, we can change that as long as the subdomain is free on Odoo.com. If I want to collaborate with some of my colleagues, I can add them to the project. So I could add my boss if he wants to have a look at what I actually do. And I can decide to either give him admin or user rights on the repository, meaning that he cannot, if he's just a user, he cannot change the settings, obviously. And he will have restricted access to the production branch. I can enable the public mode that I explained to you a few moments ago. And I can delete my project if I want. And I'm not going to do that now. And if I have private submodules, because as I said, you can use submodules to integrate with external repositories, the OCA, the OCB. But if you have your own custom private repository on GitHub, if you want to have to use deploy keys to allow the system to go fetch this, you can simply do this here. And we will generate a deploy key, and you can tell GitHub, OK, you can trust this platform. It's going to fetch the code because we need it in production. So we support private modules as well. So as I said, it's only going to install my modules by default, and it should not take long normally. OK, it's testing base. Yeah. And now because this can take some time to build, I'm going to switch already to production because I know that my 10.0 branch is stable. In the meantime, I can, by the way, show you, I think Anthony showed you all of this morning, but we have, as I said, live log viewers if you want to see the installation logs, etc., etc. And now, as I said, I just switch to the production mode. The platform is nicely telling me that it's going to start going to be a bit nicer to you guys. So it's going to install an empty database with backups and email servers. And if I do staging branches, they will use a duplicate of the database. And every time I commit on the production branch, it will trigger an update if the module has changed its version number. So it's nice. It's helping me to do all that. And what's actually happening? OK, so that's exactly what I just said. I see here that, for example, I have a failed build, which is completely normal. And if I want to see my errors, well, I have them here, all nicely displayed for me. And if I want the complete log, I can again go into this view here, the build view, and I have the full log. I can download it if I want. And I have this error here. So that's quite nice. If I want to, and I think Anthony showed you this morning as well, I can use a web shell. Well, actually, that's not an interesting example since the build is dead already, but I could go here and see the logs in live. OK, actually, the build is finished already, so I'm a bit late. So all of this is available directly from the interface. All of this is displayed live, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed, but a second ago, these builds were not finished yet, and everything updated automatically. By the way, my production branch is always sticky, so it stays at the top because obviously that's the one you want to make sure is always running normally. And as I said, it created an empty instance, so I'm going to go in and quickly install my module. Yeah. Wait. No, that's my instance from... Okay, never mind. It was already configured. I put some data in there. Okay, so I have my production branch, and now I'm going to create a staging branch. So what I want to do is, okay, I want to add a new field, so I'm going to do that directly from here. As I said, you have to increase the version number if you want the platform to do the update for you. So let's do that. I'm going to simply add a new field here in the view. This is just to show you. All right, there we go. And then, as I said, I simply, wait, my bad. I simply commit, push on the repository, and this should be building in a second. It's already there and it's building. I'm going to move it to staging so that I have a duplicate of my database for the next build. And as I said, it will build on a duplicate, no test done in data, and all going emails are catched. I can already show you this mail catcher here if you want. It's actually quite nice. All right. I have demo data, so I can. Yeah. Okay, my bad. I'm just going to send a quick email. I could, for example, no, actually, I have an email already to set up here. I'm just going to send that email, and it's already here. So, okay, it's actually twice there, so that's really nice. As I said, we release in beta, so this will all be ironed out quite quickly. So I can see my email here, and none of this goes to my customer. And if I go now, by the way, my staging branch is finished. I can go and see that it has indeed updated the production branch with my new field and my new view. Oh, all right. I think I messed up something. I'm quite sorry. It's okay. Never mind. Anyway, so I simply add a new field, and once my build is completed, I can simply merge it on the production branch, and it will apply the update since I changed the number version of my module. Okay, production update, yeah, based on the module version number. It's done on a duplicate. If we detect a problem during the update, this is cancelled and not applied on the live one, and if on the other hand it's successful, this duplicate now replaces your production database. And assuming that your database is not completely huge and you do not have just added a new computed field, yeah, it should take only a few instances to update, and so you have a downtime which is really quite small. Usually for the test we made, it was between 20 and 30 seconds for a simple module, so that's actually quite nice. All right, so that was a quick tour. Yeah, I showed you the shell, I showed you, okay. And by the way, if you get to have a lot of projects, we have this nice overview here when you can see what's going on in your projects, which one is in production, the version, etc., etc. All right, so that's the so that was the small demo. Now, if I, okay, sorry, If I want to have a look at what's actually going on, because I think that's the question we've been having the most since this morning, let's have a look at the system as it exists today. So we have the main Odoo.sh website, which only hosts the interface, actually. And this server integrates with Github, so it listens to everything Github sends using the webhook to know when you push on a branch. And we send Github some API request when you create a new branch from the interface, things like that. Then this main server dispatches the builds across numerous servers, and we'll get to that in an instant. So, yeah, as I said, we listen to the webhook, so everything that comes from GitHub triggers a new build. So if you push something, if you create a branch, if you delete a branch, we immediately know it, and so we drop the corresponding branch if you just deleted it, for example. And we use the GitHub API to communicate all the changes you do on your branches back to your repository. We use it to obviously add your submodules, and also the collaboration feature I showed in the settings is based on the GitHub accounts as well. So our main server will then dispatch the work across servers. We have servers in 3 locations, just like we have on the Odoo Online platform. We have servers in North America that serves the whole continent, in Europe, and in Asia. At the moment, until next week, we only have servers in Europe. We will deploy servers in America and Asia on Monday, normally. So within the next week, if you go back home, you should be able to create projects and not have enormous pings. So we have 3 locations, and how do they work, actually? That's the real question I think we're here. So as Anthony said, we're not using Docker for containerization. It's using systemd and spawn. But all of this is behind a few layers of complexity. So we have the basic domain Odoo.sh website that contacts one of the server based on a load. I'm sorry, I forgot the English word for load distribution. Okay, so it contacts one of the workers to create a new build. We have a local Odoo instance running on the servers that listens for these notifications. When a notification arrives, it will fetch the code, it will create a few entries in the database, and then it will send an order to this new tool that we develop internally, which is basically a reverse proxy and a container orchestrator. We call it the dispatcher. So what happens is that this system receives a notification from the Odoo database that is present on the server, and it builds a new environment for the container, starts the Odoo process inside it, and then listens for events happening inside of the instance. It has also several features like the mail interception mechanism that you saw in the demo. It also serves static files a bit more graciously than the hello Fabien, more graciously and more fastly than the integrated web server in the Odoo instance itself. And it's G-event based, so it can handle quite a lot of requests simultaneously. We haven't yet managed to reach the limits, so we think it's in the tens of thousands. Obviously, we won't have that many builds running at the same time, so it should never happen. Once the dispatcher has created the instance using this systemd utility called systemd nspound, basically it's just a process running inside a container, like on Docker, like on LXC. Nothing special going on. We don't know any magic at this point. What we have on the side of magic, what we have is something called services, in a way. So we wanted to avoid overloading the containers with heavy stuff, like, for example, the PDF printing services, HTML to PDF, which is quite heavy. So instead of having that in every instance, we have it on the host, and we have a local tunneling system that allows the instance to contact its host and ask for a printing of a PDF. So this avoids a lot of wasted resources and especially a lot of wasted memory. The local Odoo instance also serves as the mail catcher interface that you just saw. Just the interface. The actual catching is done by the dispatcher, and it's also this instance that allows you to view your logs live on the web. Okay. So that's the architecture of the system in a nutshell. Obviously, I'm sure that everyone has a lot of questions, and if you have, don't hesitate either to ask me at the end of this talk or to see us in the hall. We have a workshop there. It's more or less in the middle of the hall, and the team is always there, and we will answer quite gladly. As I said, we released in beta starting today, and it will be finalized by January. And what we want to include in the final product, but haven't actually done yet, is of course some stabilization. We expect a few issues. That's quite expected. Some UX and UI improvements. We want to allow partners and users of the platform to manage their backups themselves. So as I said, we already have a backup system in place. All the production and staging branches are backed up daily, but at the moment you cannot restore a backup yourself. This is obviously something that we want to implement in case you screw up something or delete a sales team by accident or whatever. You should be able to restore this yourself, so that's something we want to have by the end of this year. We want to allow SSH access to the containers, because the web viewer is really nice. For this demo, it's really wow effect, but if you really want to work in your usual flow, SSH is 1,000 times more comfortable. So we want to allow that before the release. We would like to have some sort of one-click integration with the Odoo App Store, where you could go on apps.com and say, okay, I want to use this app in my Odoo.sh project, and you just click and it just works. This is not the case at the moment. We can, of course, do it manually using submodules, but this is not yet user-friendly. These three are really something that we want to have by the end of this year. And then something that we will also have normally quite soon is a service status monitoring. So if you have an issue or something, you want to make sure that it's not us who have a problem. So we will display everything. We will display, for example, that all the backups are running normally, that all the workers are running normally, so that you may watch the status, the service itself. And eventually, we will also integrate the migration platform. So, for example, if you start a project on Odoo 10 or 11 today and want to migrate to the next version in 8 months or so, well, at the moment, there is no easy way to do that. And what we want to have is simply a button saying, oh, I want to upgrade to Odoo 11. And then your database gets sent automatically to our migration platform, and then you get automatic tests. And when everything is running, you can go in the project and test the migration. This is something that we would like to have. We are not sure that we will have that for January, but it will come. All right. I talked a little bit faster than I should, apparently. So we have quite some time for questions, if you have any. Yes? Can you speak a little bit louder, please? Yes? The authentication? Yes. No, it works with, so the question is, what system do we use for authentication? And the answer is that we use GitHub. So it's a OAuth integration with GitHub. So you absolutely need to have a GitHub account to use this platform at the moment. Yes? I guess it's... Well, two-step authentication does not matter. You will be asked to authenticate normally when you sign up the first time. And we will ask actually for certain rights on your repositories, because we want to be able to create branches and things like that. And this works without any issue with two-step authentication. Yes? Ah, I knew this was coming. No, it's not open source. The same way that we have, for example, our online platform that uses custom code, we have decided at the moment, but I cannot speak for anyone higher than me, but I know that the current decision is to keep this internal at the moment. Someone else? So the question is if you can deploy Odoo community on the platform, and the answer is unfortunately no. Depending on what you want to do, because this is the equivalent of the online platform, and it makes no sense for us to provide a tool that does not allow you to use Odoo at its full potential. So we decided that it should use the enterprise version quite from the start. Yes? I'm sorry, I cannot hear you. Yes? No, the tests, so it's, I don't know if you've ever used runbot, but it's exactly the same thing. So you write your test in Python, and the, oops, I lost the, okay, yes. So you run your test in, you write your test in Python, and then you can either view them. If you want to have a quick look at what failed, we provide this with this small viewer, but if you want to have a look exactly at what was done, even if it did not fail, it's done here in the interface, but you can also use it using the web shell, view it using the web shell or SSH when we will make that available. Yes? That's a good question. So the question is, once we give SSH access, or even now through the web shell, what exactly can you do on the container? What rights have you to install, for example? The answer at the moment is that you cannot do a lot, of course, because we want to secure this platform as much as possible. So what we do is that pip will install modules, but not from the command line. It will be installed using the requirements file that you will put in your repository. We will not, at the start, allow you to use apt install. By the way, the container is running Ubuntu, the latest LTS. So we will not allow you to use apt, but let's say we would like you to have this opportunity, because we know that some Python dependencies require binaries installed on the machine itself. So in the first, what we're going to first to do as of the beta is we're going to install all the binaries needed for all the Python requirements of the OCA servers, of the OCA repositories. And since we are still in beta, we are quite open to feedback, as next week there will be a feedback form in the website. And if you have a dependency that you think would be useful, we're certainly not against adding it ourselves at the start, and then perhaps in the future it will be possible to do so in a container. But we don't know that yet. Yes? So the question is integrations with third parties like Magento or something else. If you're talking about using modules that integrate your Odoo instance with Magento or something, it's like an on-premise installation, so nothing prevents it from working like it would on your own server, so you could integrate with other systems. If you're talking about hosting such a system on the database, on the platform itself, no, this platform is completely Odoo specific at the moment. You don't have enough rights in the containers to install another server system running there. So if you want to integrate with something on the outside of the platform, no problem, but that's it. Yes? Yeah. So the question is, okay, I can easily move my branch from development to production, but what if I want to do the opposite? Well, if I want to do the opposite, let's do this live. First of all, we ask you to confirm this because you're about to drop your production database, and if you have real customers, they're not going to be happy, but if you do so, okay, it's your choice. But we've just dropped the production database. Can you speak up, please? Yeah. At the moment, it will be done like on the SaaS. So we will do it. Actually, the maintainers of the platform, we will do it regularly, at least weekly, unless we have a security update. Clearly, we've been thinking about allowing you to choose the revision you want to use in the instance. At the moment, this is server-wide, so everyone is running the same code. So that means that if we want to have security updates, we have to pull the code for everyone all the time. We are still thinking about a way to provide the possibility for everyone to manage this flow themselves. So for example, we would like people to be able to say, oh, I want to only stay on this revision, or I only want security updates, for example. This is still in discussion, so I cannot answer definitively, but we are quite aware that this is a request that we will have. Yes? Currently, there is a team of 4 people. So as I said at the beginning, it's Fabien Megazi, Denis Ledoux, Denis Vermeulen, and myself. And we have also the online team that has access to the server because they run the backup servers, so they need to have access to these servers. The team might grow, it depends. It depends on the success of the platform and the success of the feedback we receive, and so it's not fixed in stone, certainly. Someone else? Yes? Mm-hmm. So the question is there a plan to allow users to download a copy of the container to have the exact same environment locally on your machine than on the server? We've been talking about this last week, I think, and we're not sure yet because it depends on if this is something people require or not. The real question behind this is obviously who is going to use this. If it's going to be only developers that want to run their Python code, we're probably not going to have a lot of requests going that way. On the other hand, if it's someone who wants to deploy things and manage things precisely, certainly this is something they will want to test because they will want to be able to know which version of which library is installed. So we're not sure yet, to be honest. That's the honest answer. Yes? Sorry, can you speak up? So the question is if there is some integrated tool to debug the code in the instance, in the containers themselves. There's no short answer. The real answer is yes, but at the moment it's still quite complicated because when you launch a web shell, for example, you are not in the same container as your instance. You are in a duplicate container that accesses the same file system, but it's not the same. So it's possible to put debug points and to patch them through the dispatcher, but at the moment it's not possible to access them from the interface. It might be possible to do so in the future. we're not sure yet. As I said, this is still in beta, and we're waiting for your feedback, so definitely please write us with this request, because it's an interesting one. So the question is there any limitation for the number of users, or basically if you have a really big database or ones that going to have a lot of requests, is there any limitation? Short answer is no. Long answer is yes, because obviously if you have a website that will have a lot, an instance that will have a lot of usage, at some point you won't be happy to be on a shared server, because all of this is shared, of course. So if you have a really big instance, or if you want to make sure that all the resources are devoted to your own instance, we will certainly be happy to provide you with VIP servers. There is no fixed offer at the moment, but we're certainly open to discuss it. Don't hesitate to contact us if you have such a request. I'm not sure I understand. Yes. So the question is, when you have custom code or even repositories that are outside of your own control, and you want to switch to the next great version of Odoo, who has to migrate the Python code of your modules? Well, it's you. Sorry to disappoint some people, but clearly, if you want to migrate to the next version of Odoo, you will have to make your code evolve with the platform. Of course, we will not force you to do so. You can stay on the version you're currently using. I guess that you have to be careful about what dependencies you use. For example, if you use an OCA module that is not longer maintained, you should obviously be careful about that, although the OCA is really good at maintaining and migrating his modules, so that's not really the biggest problem here. Yes, of course. But I think I'm gonna. I think Fabien understood the question better than I did, so he's going to answer.
So for the migration first. First, we don't force you to upgrade. You decide when you upgrade. It's opt-in. You may or may not upgrade to decide if you want to benefit from the new feature. If you decide you want to upgrade, we have two options. First, we'll provide the migration, probably, should be announced next week, but we'll probably provide the migration script for the users of the platform so that you can use those scripts and build them on the platform. For your custom module, you have the choice. Either you do it yourself or you use our 800 euro per 1,000 lines of code service, and we do everything for you. The good thing is, as you are hosted on Odoo.sh, you just pay us 800 euro per 1,000 lines of code, and we do everything. We test, we develop the code, it's hosted, you have your testing environment, so it's super easy to collaborate because the environment is controlled in the fact that it's something where we know it works efficiently and fully integrated with your migration platform. So two options. You have to decide if you want to upgrade your own module yourself or if you want to pay the extra service. So you can stay on the platform as long as you want, as long as the version is covered, so minimum 3 years. So you could say I go with 11 tomorrow, and you could stay at least 3 years. After the 3 years, you'll probably have to upgrade. I'm saying probably because I don't know. Maybe we'll keep them if we have a lot of customers. We'll see at that point. But at least you will have 3 years. Yeah, what Noah says that the nice part here is that you can test new features and new release very easily. I could go one step further. When we plan to, you know the Odoo App Store where you have all the apps, we plan to have a button where you have a one-click install of any community modules in your platform. So the ability to test community modules will be super fast. Just one click and you get it integrated with your production data or your test data you choose, if you put a development branch or a staging branch. So the full integration with the Odoo ecosystem will appear with this platform. And you can plan in advance, and it's very easy to test, and you can launch a test because in your Odoo Enterprise service, we do the upgrade of the standard at no extra fee. So just a click, we do the job, you test if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't upgrade. If you like it, you can upgrade. So everything is simplified by the fact that we have a common platform that will be integrated with your migration script. It doesn't change the responsibilities. The responsibilities is your own code. You are responsible of your own code.
It's basically the extension of a shell script, which is how it is all started, even though you do not write the shell script for the platform. So.
Yeah, I don't think you need an API to integrate with Odoo.sh because you can put any module you want and these modules are launched. So the API is that the fact that you put your own modules that integrate with whatever you want, and that's it. Yeah, you commit a module that integrates with Magento or continuous integration server or whatever you want, and you get the job. So you can put your own code on all the server, and these modules are pushed in every development branch and every staging branch. So. Yeah, maybe in the future. So the roadmap for the next step has been explained by Damien. For the rest, we'll see. What's sure, it's a strategic product and service for us. So there will be a team on our side, there are 4 today, probably more tomorrow, that continue developing new feature. On top of that, you also have all the other teams like the Odoo 90 that manage our server, the support team that do the support tickets. So we probably have 30 people supporting the platform. For now, we have 4 developers, but the team will probably grow. But for sure, we'll add things. I don't know. I can't answer yet if the API will be in the next ones or not, but for sure, we'll add useful things in the future.
Yes? Yeah, I knew this request was coming as well. So the question is, can we import and export databases? The answer is yes, you can export them actually like this. So it's just a click. Importing is not available now, but we certainly plan on making it possible because we want people, obviously, to come to this platform if they have currently a bad experience with the deployment or something. So we want to make it possible to upload a database quite easily.
Yeah, but don't forget that you have shell access. Huh? So you can download your dump and install it yourself. It takes a few minutes, like you used to do with pgdump and PSQL. You can already do it, even if you don't have a point-and-click restore.
I'll leave Fabien answer that one.
So the pricing is 150 euro for the customer in addition to Odoo Enterprise. The platform only allows Odoo Enterprise, obviously. But the pricing is special for the partner because it's free for them and all their customers. So basically, it's free for you at no extra cost. So you just have Odoo Enterprise and you put your customer there and we manage everything for you. It's going to be free. It might not be free. It might change in the future. But we promise that if we change, we only change for your future customer. So all the customers that you sign during the free period will remain free forever. And one day we'll say, okay, starting off now, it's not free anymore. And I have a recommendation to do about that. It's clearly a super valuable services. So I hope the partner will not sell it for free. I hope the partner will apply the same price that we have here and you keep the margin for yourself. Because if you sell it for free, the day we will have to pay, it's going to be complex. And we have a platform that is valuable for the end user and for the partner. So I hope you will, and I recommend the partner to sell it at the price we sell it today, which is 150 euro per month, which is basically nothing. You need a dedicated server, it's that price. In this platform, you have the production server, a few staging server, development server, DNS, email, for the price of one dedicated server with any hoster. So it's really a valuable platform. So even if you as a partner can benefit from it for free, I expect you to sell it at the regular price and keep the margin.
Yeah. We'll take one last question. I'm sorry, can you speak up? Regarding the SLA, we will be applying the same SLA as the online platform, which is available publicly. Okay. So we have guarantees on uptime and time to recovery. Sorry.
So the question is, what is the SLA? And we will apply the same because it relies on the online architecture we already have. So you get everything on this page, odoo.com/pay/security. You get everything from the security, who has access to what, the staff, who are the staff at Odoo who have access to your data or not, to support the system security, the encryption mechanism we use, the physical security that we apply on all the server, the SLA 99.99% and that kind of thing. So everything is explained on this page. We'll put a SLA on the Odoo.sh platform soon. And for the second question, which was about the hardware we use, it's a platform. So when you use Odoo.sh, it's not like you have one server. You can typically, when you showed something there were probably 15 servers. Because every development branch, every staging server, every production server has something. So it's difficult to answer the question because we have different server and replication and everything, and all the server have different, in different areas and different needs. While backup server is not configured the same as a production or a staging server. But we also have an offer, so the price I provide you, which is €150, is for the basic offer where you can put easily 50 users on it. For the large usage, the companies who need a SLA because they have millions of transactions, we have another offer which is dedicated servers. So we have exact specification of the server we'll provide you, but this offer for now is provided on demand. So you have to come back to us and say, I want this. I plan to have 1,000 users with that many orders, that many invoices, and we'll manage everything for you so that it scales, and we'll give you a price and detail of the specification of the machines.
But that's the thing about containerization. You don't actually, this is meaningless in the case of a container because we have put some restrictions in place. This is a shared hosting. It's the same way as asking, okay, I'm on a PHP on a server with 12,000 people, and what's my CPU? No. It doesn't make sense.
The answer, did you ask Gmail what kind of server they use? No, Gmail, their job is to ensure that the platform scales for you. It's the responsibility we take. You put there and we ensure that it scales for you, whatever the resource. If you have a small usage, we'll have a small server. If you have a big usage, we'll put a bigger server. But it's not, and we have an infrastructure with a lot of different servers. So I think the question about, we are not a hoster. If you want to host, probably you will have a cheaper price at OVH. We are a platform that ensures that you scale and you get all the service. At the end, if you want to have the specification of the server, it's easy. Huh? You connect an SSH, you do free, you do hashtop and everything, and you get all the specification of our server. But you have to know that if it's not a real specification, if you consume more CPUs or more memory, you will be automatically switched to a server that provides more resources. Our goal is that it scales and you have no issue. So I don't think the requirement is something we should deliver because it changes according to the customer automatically.
All right, I'm afraid we're running out of time. However, there will be an Ask Me Anything question with the whole team and Anthony Le Suisse tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. So if you still have questions, don't hesitate to come there. We have a workshop in the main hall, so don't hesitate to come and ask questions. We'll be happy to reply. or catch Fabien in the hall if you see him. Thank you very much.